Why people respect confident people is something happening right now that most people will never notice. Something so subtle, so deeply woven into the fabric of human behavior that it passes through every single day of your life without you ever catching it, and yet it is shaping everything around you. It is shaping who gets the job and who goes home empty-handed, who gets the date and who sits alone, who commands the room and who disappears inside it, who builds empires and who watches from the outside wondering what they did wrong. Two people walk into the same room. One of them has spent years building something incredible inside themselves. They have studied, they have practiced, they have sacrificed sleep and comfort and time. They carry knowledge like a secret treasure locked somewhere deep inside their chest. They know the answers when no one else does. They have the skills that took years to develop. They have done the invisible work that most people are simply too impatient to do. But watch them closely. Watch the way they move through the room. They speak as if they are afraid of their own voice, as if every word they say might be wrong, as if the air itself might judge them. They avoid the eyes of strangers. They fold into themselves. They question themselves before anyone else in the room even gets the chance. And now watch the second person. They know less. Let that settle for a moment. They genuinely know less. They are not smarter. They are not more talented. They have not put in the hours. They have not done the work. They have not walked the same long, difficult roads, but something is different about them. Something invisible, something electric, something almost impossible to name. Yet every single person in that room can feel it without knowing why. They move like the space belongs to them. They speak like the world has been waiting to hear what they have to say. They carry themselves like the outcome has already been decided in their favor. And here is the part that should deeply unsettle you. Most people in that room, without a single thought, without a moment of analysis, will naturally, almost magnetically, find themselves drawn toward the second person, the less knowledgeable one, the less prepared one, the one who simply learned how to appear as though they belong. Why does the human mind do this? Why does something as invisible and unverifiable as confidence carry more weight than years of genuine preparation? Why does the brain reward certainty over wisdom, presence over knowledge, appearance over reality, and the most haunting question of all, is confidence actually real? Or have human beings been quietly fooling each other and themselves since the very beginning of time? What you are about to hear will reach into the deepest parts of how you understand yourself and the world around you. It will change the way you read every room you walk into, every conversation you find yourself inside, every person you meet for the first time, and perhaps most powerfully of all, it will change the way you see yourself. Part 1. The invisible force that shapes everything. Let us begin at the very beginning, before the cities, before the technology, before the books and the schools and the systems that tell us how to understand the world. Before all of it, human beings were doing something that has never stopped. They were reading each other, not with words, not with tests or resumes or credentials, but with something far older and far more powerful than any of those things. They were reading signals. The way a person moved through space told a story. The way they held their body when danger appeared told a story. The way they responded to uncertainty. The way they led when no one knew what to do next. All of it was a language. a language that ran beneath words, beneath logic, beneath conscious thought. And your brain, the same brain you are using right now to process these words, is still fluent in that ancient language. It has never stopped reading those signals. It reads them in every room you enter, in every person you meet, in every conversation that begins before a single word is spoken. Researchers have found that human beings form their first impression of another person within a fraction of a second, not minutes, not even seconds, a fraction of a second. And that impression, formed before any real information has been exchanged, shapes almost everything that follows. Think about the last time you watched someone give a presentation before they said a single word, before you knew anything about what they were going to share. You were already forming an opinion. The way they stood at the front of the room, whether they looked around with ease or kept their eyes down, whether their movements were deliberate and unhurried or rushed and uncomfortable, whether they seemed like they belonged there or seemed like they were hoping no one would notice them. All of that was speaking to something ancient inside you, and the remarkable thing is that you were not choosing to make those judgments. They were happening automatically, below the level of conscious thought in the part of your brain that was built not for the modern world, but for a world far older and far more dangerous. In that ancient world, the world your brain was actually designed for, quick judgments were not a luxury. They were survival. Your ancestors did not have the time to carefully study every new person they encountered, to gather evidence, to weigh the facts, to make a rational decision. They needed an answer in an instant. Is this person capable? Is this person dangerous? Is this person someone I should follow? Is this person someone I should fear? And so the brain developed shortcuts, powerful automatic systems for reading the world around it. And one of the most powerful of those shortcuts was the reading of confidence. A confident person appeared decisive, and in a world where hesitation could mean death, decisiveness was one of the most valuable qualities a human being could possess. A confident person appeared certain, and in a world full of unknowns, certainty was something the group desperately needed. A confident person appeared strong, and in a world where strength determined survival, that signal meant everything. Those ancient instincts did not disappear when civilization arrived. They came with us. They are inside every human being alive today, quietly running in the background, shaping judgments, influencing decisions, determining who gets trusted and who gets overlooked, who gets followed and who gets forgotten. And here is the part that changes everything once you truly understand it. Confidence does not need to be real to trigger those ancient responses. The signal alone is enough. The brain reads the signal and responds. It does not stop to verify. It does not demand proof. It sees the posture. It hears the tone. It feels the energy of certainty. And it responds the way it was always designed to respond, with trust, with attention, with respect. Part 2. The psychology behind the spell. There is a concept in psychology that helps explain what is happening inside the minds of the people watching the confident person walk into the room. It is called a heuristic, a mental shortcut, a fast automatic rule the brain uses to make decisions without burning through the enormous amount of energy that real, careful analysis would require. The brain is always looking for shortcuts, not because it is lazy, but because it is incredibly efficient. It is managing an almost incomprehensible amount of information at every single moment, and it needs ways to process that information quickly. And confidence is one of the most powerful heuristics the human brain has ever developed. When someone appears confident, the brain does not ask whether their confidence is justified. It does not demand evidence. It simply reads the signal and draws a conclusion. Confident equals capable, certain equals trustworthy, assured equals worth following. This happens so fast and so automatically that most people are completely unaware it is happening. They simply find themselves drawn toward the confident person. They find themselves listening more carefully. They find themselves nodding. They find themselves believing without ever stopping to ask why. And this is not a weakness unique to certain people. It is not something that only affects those who are less educated or less intelligent. It affects everyone: psychologists, scientists, experts in their fields, people who have spent their entire careers studying human judgment. They are all still susceptible to this ancient shortcut because it does not live in the rational part of the mind. It lives somewhere far deeper, somewhere that education and awareness can influence, but never fully override. Now, consider what this means for the world you move through every single day, every conversation, every meeting, every interview, every first impression, every moment where another human being is forming an opinion of you. That ancient automatic system is running in the background, reading your signals, drawing its conclusions before you have even opened your mouth. The question is not whether people are reading your confidence. They always are. The question is, what are they reading? Part 3. The confidence gap. Here is one of the most uncomfortable truths hidden inside all of this confidence and competence. Two things that most people assume live together, that most people believe rise and fall in the same direction, are in reality completely separate forces. They can exist together, and sometimes they do, but they very often do not. And the gap between them, the space where one exists without the other, is one of the most quietly powerful forces shaping the world. Think about it this way: competence is what you can actually do. It is the real substance, the genuine ability, the hard-won skill that took years to develop. It lives in silence. It works in the dark. It does not announce itself. It does not need attention to exist. It simply is. Confidence is what you make the world believe you can do. It lives entirely in the light. It requires an audience. It is a performance, a signal, a message sent outward into the space between you and everyone watching. And because the world can only see what is visible, because the world can only respond to what is placed directly in front of it, confidence wins again and again and again in situations where competence should win and does not. The quiet genius sits in the back of the room with the answer burning inside them, and no one thinks to ask. The confident voice stands at the front with something far less valuable, and the whole world leans in as if they are about to hear something sacred. This is not the exception to the rule. This is the rule. This is happening in boardrooms and classrooms and political stages and creative industries and social circles all over the world right now. At this very moment, the most prepared person in the room is being overlooked, and the most confident person in the room is being given the floor. And the truly disturbing part is that no one in the room realizes it is happening. Not even the person being overlooked, who walks away convinced that they simply were not good enough, when the truth is that they were never given the chance to show what good enough actually looked like. Part 4. The deep human hunger for certainty. To truly understand why confidence holds this almost supernatural power over human beings, You have to understand something about what uncertainty does to the human. Mind uncertainty is not just uncomfortable, it is genuinely painful. Researchers studying the brain have found that uncertainty activates some of the same neural pathways as physical pain. The brain treats not knowing as a threat, as something to be resolved as quickly as possible, as something that requires action. And this makes perfect sense from an evolutionary perspective. In the ancient world, not knowing what was behind the next hill, not knowing whether the sounds in the darkness were danger or nothing, not knowing whether the weather would hold or whether the harvest would survive. Uncertainty was not just uncomfortable, it was potentially deadly, and so the brain developed a powerful drive to resolve uncertainty, to find certainty wherever it could, to move toward anything that felt like solid ground in a world full of unknowns. And confident people, whether they intend to or not, whether they are even aware of it or not, offer the feeling of solid ground. They step into the anxiety of uncertainty and they say, with their whole body, with their voice, with the unhurried way they move through chaos, everything is known, everything is manageable. Someone understands what is happening here and the people around them, who are drowning in anxiety, who desperately need something to hold on to, feel the tension begin to release. The brain receives the signal. Certainty is available, and it moves toward it the way a cold and exhausted creature moves toward warmth. Think about what happens on an airplane when turbulence hits. The cabin fills with a particular kind of dread, that electric, helpless feeling of being completely out of control, of being suspended in the air with nothing beneath you but miles of empty sky. And then a voice comes through the speakers, calm, unhurried, as if what is happening is entirely ordinary, entirely manageable, entirely under someone's control. That voice does not stop the turbulence. The plane is still shaking. The danger, if there is any danger, has not changed. But something happens inside every person in that cabin. The fear begins to soften. The grip on the armrest begins to loosen. The breath begins to slow, not because anything real has changed, but because the signal of certainty was received. And the brain, that ancient system built for survival, responded exactly the way it was designed to respond. This is what confident people do for the humans around them. They become the calm voice in the turbulence. They become the signal that says someone knows, someone has this, someone is in control. And the people around them respond not with logic, but with something far older and far more powerful than logic. They respond with trust. Part 5. The hierarchy nitrogen monoxide one admits exists, whether we acknowledge it or not, whether we are comfortable with it or not. Every single human group develops a hierarchy. Every school, every workplace, every family, every circle of friends, every community, every society, every civilization that has ever existed on this earth. Human beings are hierarchical creatures. We have been since long before history began, and no amount of modern thinking has changed the ancient wiring beneath it. And inside every one of those hierarchies, the same quiet, invisible process is always running. People are constantly, automatically, unconsciously reading each other, sorting each other, placing each other somewhere on the invisible ladder of status and capability and trustworthiness. Confidence is one of the most powerful forces that determines where someone lands. Imagine two strangers at a gathering, two people no one in the room has ever met before. Walking in at the same moment, one of them immediately begins moving through the room, introducing themselves, asking questions, holding eye contact, laughing. Without self-consciousness, speaking without apology, existing in the space as if it was built for them. The other lingers near the entrance. They wait to be approached rather than approaching. They speak when spoken to and go quiet. When the conversation pauses, they exist in the space as if they are still deciding whether they have the right to be there. Now, ask yourself, without knowing a single real thing about either of these two people, without knowing their history or their abilities or their intelligence or their character, which one does the room begin to orient toward? Which one gets pulled into conversations, offered introductions, asked for opinions? Which one ends the evening having made 5 new connections while the other made none? And which one goes home that night with a reputation already forming in the minds of strangers? A reputation built entirely on signal, on the message their presence broadcast into the room before they ever said a word. This is the hierarchy forming in real time, not based on reality, but based on signal. And here is the part that makes this more than just an observation about a single evening. Those first impressions, those instant, automatic judgments become sticky. They get remembered. They get repeated. They shape how people introduce you to others. They determine whether you are included or excluded, whether you are considered or overlooked, whether the door opens or stays closed. And as weeks turn into months and months turn into years, the gap between the person who sent the strong signal and the person who sent the weak one becomes enormous, not because one was more deserving, but because one was more visible. Part 6. The cycle that builds empires. Once you understand the hierarchy, once you see how confidence shapes the way others respond, you begin to see something even more powerful hiding underneath it all: a cycle, self-reinforcing loop. That once started becomes almost impossible to stop. It begins simply enough. A person appears confident. The people around them respond with attention and respect and opportunity. That response feeds something inside the confident person. It validates them. It strengthens them. It makes the next step easier, and the one after that easier still. And then those increased opportunities, those open doors, that additional platform, produce real results, real achievements, real evidence that begins to justify the confidence that was there before any evidence existed. Confidence created the appearance of capability. The appearance of capability created opportunity. Opportunity created real results. Real results created more confidence. And the cycle begins again, stronger than before, faster than before, further reaching than before. Many of the most successful and respected people in the world did not begin with more talent than the people around them. They began with a signal that was strong enough to start the cycle, and then the cycle did the rest. The extraordinary part is that this cycle is not reserved for a special few. It is not something you are born into or excluded from by forces beyond your control. It is a cycle that can begin at any moment, in any room, in any conversation, the moment the signal changes. Part 7. The tragedy inside brilliant minds. There is a particular kind of quiet tragedy that lives inside the minds of deeply capable people who have never learned this truth. They spend years, sometimes their entire lives, developing real and extraordinary ability. They become genuinely skilled, genuinely knowledgeable, genuinely capable of doing things that most people cannot do. Then they walk into the room and they wait. They wait for someone to notice. They wait for the evidence to speak for itself. They wait for the world to look past the surface and find the treasure buried underneath, and the world running on its ancient automatic systems never looks it is looking at the confident person across the room. Psychologists have a name for part of this phenomenon: the Dunning-Kruger effect, a fascinating and deeply unsettling pattern discovered in research. People who know very little about a subject tend to overestimate how much they know. They speak with confidence because they cannot yet see the vast complexity they are missing. They do not know enough to know what they do not know, but people who have gone deep, who have spent years inside the complexity, who have seen how many layers there are and how much remains unknown, these people often become more uncertain the more they learn, not less, because they can see what they are still missing, and so a strange and painful inversion occurs. The least qualified voices speak with the greatest certainty, and the most qualified voices hesitate, and the world, reading signals rather than substance, follows the certain voice into territory that the uncertain expert could see clearly was dangerous. This is not an occasional glitch in the system. This is a pattern. A deeply recurring pattern that shapes decisions at every level of human society, from the smallest personal conversation to the largest political stage, and for every brilliant person who stayed silent while a less capable but more confident voice shaped the outcome. The world lost something it will never know it lost. Part 8. The Charisma Mystery Solved. Most people think of charisma as a magical quality, something mysterious and indefinable, something you either have or you do not, something that cannot be learned or built or developed. But when researchers actually study the people that the world calls charismatic, when they look past the mythology and into the mechanics, they find something surprisingly concrete beneath the surface. Confidence is doing most of the work. Think about the most magnetically compelling people you have ever encountered. The ones who seem to make every room brighter simply by entering it. The ones whose conversations you remember long after they have ended. The ones who make you feel, without quite knowing why, that something important is happening when they are present. What do they share? They are comfortable in their own skin in a way that most people never quite manage to be. Not arrogant, not aggressive, not performing superiority, but genuinely settled, genuinely at ease, genuinely unbothered by the possibility that someone in the room might not approve of them. They do not need the room's permission to exist fully within it, and that quality, that radical self-possession, that freedom from the desperate hunger for external validation, is one of the most magnetic things one human being can communicate to another, because most people are walking through the world in a state of constant subtle anxiety, constantly monitoring how they are being perceived, constantly adjusting and softening and shrinking themselves to fit what they imagine others want to see. And when someone walks into that anxious world and simply exists without that anxiety, without that apology, without that constant self-monitoring, it is startling, it is almost disorienting, and it is irresistibly compelling. People call it charisma because they do not have another word for it, but what they are actually responding to is the signal of someone who has somehow, through whatever path they walked to get there, made peace with themselves, and that peace, that stillness at the center of a constantly moving and uncertain world, is one of the most powerful signals one human being has ever been able to send to another. Part 9. The signal you are always sending. Here is the thing. That changes everything. Once you truly see it, you are always sending a signal right now. In every room you enter, in every conversation you begin, in every moment where another human being can observe you, you are broadcasting something into the world. You do not get to choose whether to send the signal. You are always sending it. The only choice you have is what the signal says, the way you carry your body through space, whether you move with ease or with apology, whether you take up room or try to make yourself small, the way you hold eye contact or avoid it, the way you respond when someone challenges you, whether you stand your ground with calm or collapse inward with doubt, the pace at which you speak, whether your words come out with weight or with the nervous filler of someone who is not sure they deserve the floor, all of it, every single element of how you exist in the presence of other human beings is a message, and that message is being received, processed, and filed away in the minds of everyone around you, below the level of their conscious awareness, shaping their judgment of you before they have even decided to form one. And what the research shows, what history shows, what the deep patterns of human behavior show again and again across every culture and every era, is that the message you send shapes the response you receive. Send the signal of someone who belongs, and the world begins to treat you like you belong. Send the signal of certainty, and the world begins to offer you the opportunities that certainty tends to attract. And perhaps the most extraordinary and quietly unsettling truth of all, the more consistently you send that signal, the more the world responds to it. The more the world's response shapes your actual experience, and the more your actual experience begins to reshape who you actually are. The performance becomes the reality, the signal becomes the truth, confidence, sent out into the world as a message before it was felt as a feeling, eventually becomes something you feel, and in that moment, the cycle that began as something you chose becomes something you simply are. Closing. So we return to the two people who walked into the room at the beginning of this journey, the one who carried years of real and genuine knowledge, and the one who simply carried certainty. And perhaps now the question is different than it was when we started. The question is no longer only, why does the world respond to confidence the way it does? The question is, what are you going to do with that knowledge? Because understanding this ancient pattern, seeing it clearly, feeling the weight of what it means, is not a reason to despair. It is not a revelation that the world is hopelessly broken and that real ability will always go unrecognized. It is an invitation to stop waiting for the world to look past the surface and find what you have buried underneath, an invitation to understand that the signal is yours to shape, that the cycle is yours to begin, that the room is waiting not for proof of your worth, but for the signal that you believe in it yourself. The world responds to confidence because it was built to, because somewhere deep in the oldest parts of the human brain, confidence has always meant something. It has meant I am here, I belong, I have faced the unknown, and I am still standing, and whatever comes next, I am ready. That is the signal, and it has always been yours to send.